Today we're going to be looking at how we can use async await to make JavaScript promises easier to work with. Before we dive into what this code actually does, if you don't already understand how promises work, make sure you check out my JavaScript promises video linked in the cards and the description below before you come back to this video, because you need to understand promises before you can understand how to use async and await, since async and await is really just syntactical sugar wrapped around making promises easier to work with. So let's look at the code that we already have in place. We have two functions here. The first function, makeRequest, returns a promise that will just log making a request, and then it'll resolve successfully if you send in a location of Google, or it'll reject if you do not. And then our second function here, processRequest, is a very simple request that just adds a little bit of extra information onto the string that you pass into it, and it'll always resolve. So let's look at how we would call these functions using promises, and then we're going to go through and take that code and change it to use async await and see all of the advantages and disadvantages of doing so. So let's first write it out. We just want to call the makeRequest function, and we're just going to pass it in Google, for example, since we know that that will make it succeed. And then we can just use .then, since we're using a promise here. We have our response that is going to be returned by our promise, which is just, in our case, a string here. Google says hi. And inside of here, what we want to do is just log out so that we know that we are here. We just want to say console.log that the response has been received. And then we just want to call our process request, which is going to process the response that we get from that request. So we just pass it the response here. And since we're using promises, we need to actually return this promise so that we can use it in our chained then down here. So we just use our then, and then we're going to get the response of whatever process request returns. So in our case, we'll just call this processed response. And in here, all we want to do is actually log our response that we got. So we'll just console.log processed response. And now if you save that, you see making a request to Google, response received, processing the response, and then our extra information tacked onto our response, which means that all of our different code has executed in order just like it should, and it's all waiting for the previous code to execute before going on to the next code, which is exactly what we want. And the last thing we need to do is we just want to add a catch in here to catch any errors that we potentially get, and we're just going to log out those errors. So we'll just log the error here. So for example, if we tried to query Facebook instead of Google and we save it, you say making a request to Facebook, and then we get an error saying we can only talk to Google. And that's exactly what we want. And if you look at this code, it's really not too bad, but we can make it a lot easier to understand without having all of these .thens and the nesting inside of them. And if, for example, we needed to use a parameter inside of this first .then, inside of our second .then, we can't do that very easily with promises. We'd have to create a variable out here, call it something, and we would have to assign something to it. But with async await, we don't actually need to worry about that. So down here below this make request, let's do this asynchronously with async await. The first thing you need to know about async await is that you need to have some kind of function that your awaiting code is inside of. So you're just going to create a function. We're just going to call it do work. Doesn't really matter what it's called. And inside of this function is where we're going to put all of our asynchronous code. But we need to tell JavaScript that this function is asynchronous so that it'll know how to handle the await sequences that we put inside of it. So inside of here, all we need to do is call our different methods. So for example, we want to call makeRequest, and we're just going to pass it Google. And in here, we just need to say await. And this keyword await pretty much says the code should wait until this makeRequest is finished, and then afterwards it'll execute the next thing. And this function makeRequest is just going to return the resolve section of the promise. So we can just say that in here the response is going to be equal to awaiting this makeRequest function. And because we have this inside of an asynchronous function, once JavaScript hits this await statement, it'll just leave this function, do other work inside of the program, and then as soon as this makeRequest finishes executing, it'll come back into here, return the resolve into this response variable. And that's perfect. So now we can just take our console.log, add it back in here so we can say that the response was received. As soon as we get to this section, it means that this has finished executing. And then we can call our next statement, which is going to be process request. And in here, we'll just put in that response variable that we have from above. And again, we need to do the exact same thing. So we can set this variable of processed response equal to that. And we need to make sure we await the return of this function. And then lastly, all we need to do is take our final console.log, put it in the bottom here, because now we know as soon as this process request is finished waiting, it'll come down here and log processed response. So now all we need to do is call that function, remove all of our asynchronous code for .then and promises up here. And if we save that, you see making a request to Google, response received, processing response, and then the extra information is added onto our response. So this do work asynchronous function works exactly the same as our promises. And as you can see, it looks a lot neater. But you may be wondering, how do we handle errors that we use the .catch for? Because for example, if we change this to be Facebook, for example, instead of Google, and you save it, we see that we get an uncaught error, and that's not what we want. So the way that you can solve this in asynchronous functions is by using a try catch block. And essentially all you do is you use the keyword try, and inside of the brackets that come after it, all you do is you put all of the code that could potentially fail. Anything that can throw an error, you put inside of this block, and then you use a catch block afterwards, which again is 2 brackets, and this will just take a parameter. In our case, it'll be error. And then in here, you can do whatever you want to do for catching your error. In our case, we're just going to log the error that gets returned. And now all of the code inside of this try section is going to be executed. And if there's any error along the way, it's going to immediately leave and call the code inside of the catch section. So now if we save that, you see that our error is getting logged of we can only talk to Google. And now we have a fully functional async await version of our code up here that does exactly the same thing, but it's much easier to reason with and looks much more like synchronous code, even though it's actually asynchronous code. The biggest things to make sure that you do when you're using async await is that you must wrap your code inside of a function, whether it's an anonymous function, an arrow function, or a normal function like this. It doesn't matter, but you need to have it wrapped in a function with that async keyword at the beginning of the function definition. You also need to make sure that you're using the await keyword before all of your different code that's going to be asynchronous. Otherwise, it'll just return the promise and not actually return the result of that promise being executed. Other than that, async await is just like promises in pretty much every other way. All it does is make it easier for you to write promises and work with promises in your code. So I hope you guys enjoyed this quick video about async and await and how it can be used to make your promise and asynchronous code easier to reason with and to write. If you guys did enjoy this video, make sure to check out my other JavaScript related videos linked over here and subscribe to my channel for more videos just like this. Thank you guys very much for watching and have a good day.